Hello and welcome to BusyWorksBeats.com. Today I have an exclusive for you guys, and this will be absolutely free. This is a masterclass on how to be a real DIY independent artist, a real DIY, a real independent music artist, and how to influence the world and how to do it at your own control without being controlled by a record label, an outside source, and other people all in your pockets. So this is the most simple form I can break it down to. If you don't know me, I'm Game from BusyWorksBeats.com. We train over 1 million producers around the world, so I'm going to work with Drake, Kanye West, Post Malone, Ariana Grande, French Montana, Young Thug, Lil Baby, Polo G, Trippie Redd. I said Lil Baby already. French Montana, J. Cole, Kendrick Lamar, and a long list of other folks I constantly keep forgetting. So in this video, okay, let me tell you my quick story before I get into all these tabs. I have so many tabs open. But if you don't know me, I'm Game from BusyWorksBeats.com. And I remember that feeling of being in my parents' extra bedroom where the ceiling to that room felt like the ceiling to my life. I felt so trapped and limited, not because I didn't have love for the person hosting me in their home, my mother in that case, but because I felt like I went to school for 4 years at Villanova University for a bio major, pre-med. I got out of school thinking I'm immediately going to have a job. And then I run into the first job application process and it's like, you need 8 years of experience. I'm like, how in the world am I getting 8 years of experience in a 4-year degree? So I felt bamboozled. And honestly, that's how I feel about the music industry, is like they teach us all these things that aren't the real deal. And then we spend all this time and all this effort going into the music industry side. And then we come out and we're like, why would we follow in that fairy tale when we could have did this ourselves and saved a ton of money? Okay, so I'm going to show you this path. Okay, the path of following your intuition, using your gift that you got from the creator, following your purpose, and doing this so that you can build your influence. And then that has a ripple effect. You can influence more and more people. Like those millions of music producers that we train, for example, they went to influence even more people. And then they went to influence even more people, working with the biggest artists in the world. So I want to give you guys hope that, my first episode on this channel, if you go all the way back, that's listed, is a podcast. It was about the law of attraction. So if I can start with that tiny seed and just educate people and create value. And then over time, I have the results to show you guys. This is me showing proof so that people listen to what I have to teach them. Okay, so this is not bragging. This is actual results. Okay, so on YouTube, we have 200 million views on YouTube because I educate folks. On TikTok, we have, I don't know the exact view count, but it says we have over 1 million likes on TikTok from education content on music and music production. On Instagram, we have now over 170,000 followers. I don't know the views on Instagram. I think it was somewhere near like 50 million or 20 million. I forget the exact count. It's been a while. Okay, and then for people saying that, I never got into music, I actually did multiple music videos back in 2018, but I unlisted them because I didn't think it was a good image for my brand and for my family. So I took those down willingly. Okay, so I willingly spent $50,000 or something on the entire process of making the music, doing the music videos, flying everywhere. Wasted that to make all this content. And then like shortly after I posted the content, I pulled it down because I didn't want to come off like a player. So you should have that power too, to know that you can pull your music down and stuff that you don't want online down at any time and not worry about having to keep it up because it's bringing in revenue. You could say, no, that's not my image right now. I'm going to pull it down. That's the power you guys should have. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 videos listed on YouTube, but there's more that was filmed. Okay. And, one of the songs got over 1 million plays. Shout out to I Am Dante. This has 1.9 million plays. It was my song called Bad Luck. So this is me in that shirt, and this is me in the same exact shirt. Okay. And it got featured on his channel. I think it was like $100 to get featured on his thing years ago. This is 5 years ago before he blew up. But I knew that his channel was going to blow up. So I said, yeah, I'll pay you, because you make good content. I was like, I'll pay you, Dante, because I know his content is good. And I was like, yeah, I want to be a part of your process. The video ends up, getting almost 2 million plays just on that one song. So you guys got to think a little bit more broad. Like, it's not all about Spotify ads. One of the biggest myths that you guys will see is that they're going to tell you to run ads and do all this BS. I'm going to tell you guys, I spent over $440,000 on Facebook ads alone ever since 2000. When did I start? Maybe 2014. Okay. I don't spend money with Meta as much, but back in the day, I'm saying, when I would like dump money into Meta, okay, I spent a lot and I learned a lot. Okay. So I will tell you that ads is not the easy button. Okay. Think of ads, and I'll be short because it's a long essay answer, but think of it like Need for Speed. Like when you guys are riding on Need for Speed, you start the race, you go, and then let's say your car goes up to 100 miles an hour, and then it just kind of stops there. It's going 100, but it can't go 105. It can't go 110. Then you want to hit the NOS on the NOS, nitrous oxide or whatever on the car, and then it boosts the car. Okay, so it's like you're at 100, and then you hit the NOS button, and then now you're going 120, 130. That's when ads are supposed to be used. You don't use ads to start the race because you're still gonna max out. You're gonna run out of not nitrous oxide. I'm talking about Need for Speed Underground too, by the way. So when you start the race and you use up all your nitrous, now you're going 100 miles an hour, but you just wasted all your nitrous. Okay. Whereas if you just drove and got up to 100 and then you hit your nitrous, then you can go to 150, 120. And that's my point. Don't use ads until you know something works. You're just trying to scale it at that point. Don't waste your money on ads. Trust me, you will blow through way too much money doing that. Okay. Okay, we went over the TikTok credentials. And if you guys want more about me, you just don't know me from a hole in the wall, go to my Instagram, Instagram.com/busyworksbeats, and look at all my testimonials. I have about 4 highlight testimonials about, all the stuff that I do and the different people. Okay, so with all that being said, I have somewhat of a itinerary for today. So the first thing I'm going to cover is physical products. Should you sell it? I can't tell people what to do. I'll just give you guys the reality of this, and then I'll give you the steps on how to do it. We're going to go over digital products, which I would highly recommend because you can scale that infinitely without a lot of the restrictions about physical product. Then we're going to talk about promotions and how to get streams. We're going to talk about the registration process. Who should you sign up with? It's pretty simple, actually. And then we're going to move into team building. Step 6 is Discord community building. 7 is live events. And 8 is your email list, your text list, and 9 is how to use AI to create art. So we have a lot to get through, so I will be point by point and straightforward. All right, so the first site is called Alibaba. There are other sites, but you guys are not building e-commerce websites to source from vendors. So you don't need to be going to like 1,000 sites, comparing this to that. Just it's cheap enough to where we can go to Alibaba. Most people are selling what are called USB cards because these are more modern. The thing is, you got to make sure that people's computers are compatible to this type of USB. I'm on a Mac, for example, and they have specific ports on the Mac. So the Mac is going to have ports like this on the right side, whereas like other PCs might have older ports like this on the left side. So you got to make sure that if you are going to invest in physical product, that you make sure people can actually use the product, load it up. There are people talking about selling CDs. If people don't have CD players, they can't consume the product, and it's just decoration for the wall at that point. And it's valueless because they can't use the product. If you sell vinyl and nobody has a vinyl player, they can't consume the product. It's a piece of art they might hang up on the wall, but it's not something they can listen to. So what I would always recommend is that you guys offer a digital version of your album and how to access your album. So even though you sell digital, you guys can use QR code images, and then they can use their phone. They scan the QR code, and then it goes to your actual album on a Google Drive, for example, which is free. So even though you guys are selling physical, I would highly recommend that you always give them the option to have the digital mirrored product in the case that the physical breaks or whatever the case, or it doesn't work with their computer, or else you're going to have a nightmare of refunds, people sending stuff back. Now, a lot of people are trying to be sell physical because they say, okay, I gave you a physical product on PayPal and it tracks like when stuff gets shipped. Okay, but here's where they try to get over on people is that when you receive a physical product, then they can say no refunds because you received the product. Okay, so that's their way of trying to avoid refunds, but it's in your best business interest to always give folks a digital product. It does not matter. The physical thing is just the transaction. So let's talk about margins before we get into all this, like how to understand margins. Okay, margins are, should you waste time on something or not? So for example, we can get a USB card for 50 cents, but it says minimum order 1 piece, but let's see, let's click on the top option here. Okay, so it says we can get a 64 megabyte. Most people, when you're building an album, for example, you're going to give people the wave. I would hope you guys give them the wave quality, WAV quality. And those can be 32 megabytes per song. So multiply that times the amount of songs you guys have. So chances are you're going to have to get something a lot bigger, something like a 512 megabyte. Depends on how many songs you guys have. Let me do some quick math. 512 divided by 32 that's a 16 song album. So chances are you'd probably get the 512 megabyte option here. Let me move my head. Let's move myself over here. Okay, so now that we have the 512, it says how many cards do we want? Let's just say we want 1. Now, different suppliers have different minimum orders because they deal with, multiple clients. So they're not going to have a whole factory print out one thing for you. In this case, they do offer very low minimum quantities, but always keep in mind that depending on the physical thing that you're selling, whether a t-shirt, USB card, some kind of poster, whatever the physical thing is, make sure that the minimum quantity is not a lot because I'm going to show you guys in a little bit why that's important. Okay, so most people want to go physical, but I want to show you guys the margin of all this. And we're going to get into the margin in a second. I don't want to like harp too long on physical products here. So now that we have this USB card, we could put 512 megabytes, one card, and then we can complete our order. It's going to add a little bit more, but that's about a $5 transaction. I think it asks you to sign up. Yeah, it asks you to sign up after that. But pretty much it says 50 cents to $5. It's not really clear on that final price, but let's say it's $5. And let's say you sell your album for 10, okay? So now if you were to buy it for $5, I assume $5 is when you add the custom art to it. Again, I don't know this specific vendor and their requirements, but let's just take it all the way to the top price and say it's $5. There's something we need to understand, which is margin. Okay, what's the difference between what we charge and what it costs to make the thing? So if I charge my $10 for my album and it costs me $5, I really only made $5 in profit. Why is that important? Because you're going to be the person to have to take that USB card, take it and put it in a mailer, which is more cost, by the way. You're going to have to buy mailers, put it in the mailer. Now, with mailers, you can have it picked up by the post office, but let's just say you physically drive to the post office and you physically hand it off. That costs you time. That could be an hour, 30 minutes. You don't know about traffic. There's so many variables when it comes to physical products that $5, you're like, was it really worth all this effort just to send somebody? So you basically did it for free. And that's why I don't recommend physical, because it's very hard to scale, mainly because you guys don't control the manufacturing process. The real person who wins with physical is the manufacturer, not the retailer. Okay. So just we can get deep with everything, but let me show you guys another kind of aspect, because a lot of people want to sell merchandise. And here's another like huge thing people don't understand is, one, you don't know which designs people are going to like. That's always a huge variable. And let's say we get a t-shirt here for like $4. Okay. So again, what is that price that we could sell it at to where we're getting a decent difference in the price to where it justifies all the other stuff that we have to do? Okay. Like put it in the mailer. We have to, stamp it and brand it. We have to go to the actual post office and ship it off. Are you going to sit on a bunch of inventory? Do they have minimal pieces? So right here, it tells you guys you need to buy at least two pieces in this case. But some, manufacturers require that you have 100-piece orders for really good products. They have that threshold really high. So now you got to come out your pocket $600 to hold inventory that you don't even know is going to actually take off. So what I would recommend before you guys get into physical anything, it could be a USB card, merchandise, whatever that thing is, always pre-sell first. Always pre-sell first. Always judge the market demand before you ever invest a dollar in physical. Because the thing about physical, you can't just take it back. You're going to be sitting on inventory. It's just like real estate. Like people think you could just buy a house and sell it tomorrow. You got to wait for you got to wait for buyers. You got to come to a negotiation point. It's just so much stuff involved that sometimes it's not worth all that energy. I just want to warn you guys about physical, because there's so many people talking about merch and physical as a way to monetize. And I will tell you guys that is a very difficult way to go about monetizing, a very time consuming way. Okay. So I just wanted to make that extremely, extremely clear. Now, how can you sell the physical? What storefront are you guys going to use? I would recommend Shopify. It just simplifies everything. It's very popular. They have tons of integrations. It's probably the best logistics management systems inside of Shopify. So, and you could ship international and all that type of stuff as well. The point of the checkout process, though, is to simply keep track of stuff. Because again, if you're going the physical route, when people make an order, it's just a record on a piece of paper that says somebody sent you money. It's your job to fulfill the order. Okay. So let's say they send you $20 for your CD, okay, or whatever. And then it's your job on the Shopify side to say, okay, I'm going to go in my closet, get the CD, put it in a mailer, stamp it with your brand, send it off to the USP. Then you have to go back to your systems and mark it as fulfilled. That's not a process that the computer does. You do that. And it's very time consuming, and you could be sleeping, getting orders and all this type of stuff. So you never know when that's going to happen. It's very variable. And for that reason, again, I like to stay away from physical products because it's too much risk for this, the reward, which is very small. So I just want to hyper warn you guys, because again, you're going to hear that message a lot about being independent. You need to have physical, and physical's coming back and all these lies. Somebody can have sales. It does not mean that people are getting CDs and buying CDs to go on their you can't even play a CD. I'm on a MacBook, there's no CD drive. Okay, a vinyl, I do have a vinyl player, but it took me a lot of time and money to get this vinyl player, okay? If I did get a vinyl, I wouldn't play people's music. It would be so cumbersome to plug that into my interface and then go into my DAW just to load up the audio so I could hear the album, and I wouldn't know where track 10 is. I would have to lift the needle, skip the like, that's too much work to listen to music, okay? Most of the time, people are buying that stuff to be on the wall. It's decoration, it's art. Always deliver the digital product with your physical stuff. You can do that with a QR code or a simple link and link people to your Google Drive. That's simple. Okay, the thing that you're selling could be just a token that represents the actual digital product. Okay, so just think of those things like a token. I know I'm going really deep really early, but if you guys have that fantasy in your mind, you're always going to be going down this rabbit hole, wasting your time, your money, and so much effort on the physical route. Okay, nextly, let's move into the digital products. Now, digital comes down to this basic, blueprint. There are three key things to online. You have online traffic, you have what's called value creation, okay, and then you have customer relationships. So, in short, traffic is all things social media for the most part. In modern day times, your guys are not putting up money for posters to put at the bus stop. You're not putting stickers in the bathroom of a bar in a club. That's not a way to market modernly in today's world. So social media is going to be 99.99% of the time that you're going to spend on marketing. Now, most people, again, they want to run to ads because they think there's an easy button for business. There is no easy button. You're going to burn through more money than you can even spend on ads. And it's going to make you more frustrated that you wasted money on ads than just making content. Okay, so content is the way. Now, the thing is, most people make content about themselves. They're like, here's my music video, here's a video about me. Everything is about them. It's never about the other person. So the way people relate to stuff is they have to have a resonating point, a commonality. Now, telling a story might connect with somebody else because they're like, oh, I'm going through that too. And then you can connect that way. You don't have to always you do the TikTok thing. Like, here's my dance to my song, and I'm gonna go viral by doing something stupid like jumping off a crate. Okay, you don't have to do that stuff. That stuff is very short-lived anyhow. What you guys want to do is focus about the psychographics, okay? Psychographics, meaning the mental commonalities of an audience. What are the top 10 websites people go to? What are the top 10 influencers your audience follows? What are the top 10 things and behaviors they do every single day? That's how you find the people. It's not demographics anymore. It's not where do they live? How old are they? What's their ethnicity? Nowadays, it's like, do they skateboard? Who do they follow? Did they follow The Rock? Do they follow Kevin Hart? What kind of comedy do they like? How do I make memes that they would actually understand? That's the game now. It's more psychological than it is about demographics. So content is your way to do that and stand out. And you have to do this daily. Trust me, even myself, I stopped posting daily on Instagram. My reach is not increasing. Like, I'm still at the same followers because I'm not posting daily and consistently daily. And I mean multiple videos daily, like six videos daily. And I do tutorial type stuff where it teaches people stuff. You want to find value. In short, value comes in 5 different forms. There are 5 motivations of people. You have a wealth motivation, you have a health motivation, meaning proliferation of genes, you have a social status motivation, you have a power motivation, and you have a mastery motivation. So what I focus on is mastery, teaching people how to become masters of the craft. Okay, you could focus on other things like social status or wealth messages like 50 Cent, Rick Ross. Those are wealth focused artists, okay, who talk a lot about wealth and focus on wealth. Then you have health and fitness, but also proliferation of genes. So that could be artists who focus on their lifestyles and more so, diets and different things like that, veganism and all those types of things. Oh, pardon me. Then you have messages of social status. Now, social status is all about getting next to something that raises your social status value. That could be a Rolex watch. That could be a Rolls Royce. That could be a celebrity. That could be an event that only certain people get into, like the Grammys, the Oscars, the Emmys, stuff like that. That game is really built for the 3 record labels at the top, Sony, Warner, and Universal, because they control all of the assets in that game. So they could just plug and play anytime they want. Whereas you getting invited to a Grammy party is very difficult when you don't throw the Grammy party. Okay, so raising your social status, you're gonna have to do it on a micro level most of the time, which is get next to the local influencers, get next to the influencers of your niche or those psychographics that we talked about. I can go on and on and on about marketing, but marketing is social media right now. And marketing is about finding that audience. And marketing is about finding people with those commonalities and those common traits. It's not about Spotify ads. It's not about Spotify followers. Because if that were true, why don't people go from Spotify to your Instagram? Why don't they go from Spotify to your YouTube page? Why is no marketer ever telling you how to take Spotify people and send them to your email list? Because Spotify is an end goal in this case. It's an end goal. It doesn't send people the other way, which means traffic comes from somewhere else. Okay, anyway, I can go on and on for days about that. Nextly is the value exchange. So the value exchange is the thing that you create and give away for free or paid. So this would be when people sign up to your email list or your text list, or it's a low priced, offer. I'll say. Okay, let me drag this down. Okay, or it's some intangible value. I'll just say intangible value, but it doesn't mean there's no exchange. Okay, so in this case, you might give me a network connection to some, you know, promoter. Okay, and I might trade you a connection to a producer that I know. Whatever the trade is, there is a trade going on. So that's called the value exchange. Lastly, we have customer relations. Now, customer relations is all about keeping people around. And trust me, not trust me, I'll actually show you. Our Discord has 94,988 folks in here, and Discord is the definition of community. So I could tell you, Discord is the place to build. So this would be stuff like Discord community building, your email list sequencing, it's called, meaning like when people sign up to your email list, what do you send them after they sign up? Uh, you know, your customer relationship is really just how do you keep people around? Like, how do you keep them interested? How do you keep them in your communication chain for the long term? That's basically what it is. So again, the internet comes down to traffic. Basically, how to get people's attention. Okay. And then how do we convert these people over to the next step? The goal of traffic is to get people on your email list or your text list. Those are the only two things that you own, your email list and your text list. Trust me, I've done this. I've taken my email list. I moved from MailChimp over to Klaviyo, and I moved from Klaviyo over to ActiveCampaign, and I moved from ActiveCampaign over to HubSpot, and I have my stuff spread now to where it's not in one place. So the only thing that you own is your email list, okay, and your text list, because you can't take your Facebook followers and take them over to Instagram. You can't take your YouTube followers and take them over to Twitter. You can't do that. Whereas you can take your email list followers from this email list over to another one. But the difference here is, I know I'm getting in the weeds here, but I just got to be short about this. If you do that, or when that happens, you have to do what's called warming up your audience, which means you can do it, but you lose some of those contacts due to they have to re-opt in, it's called. But the point is, you own the email list, okay? Whereas if you constantly build on social media and all you worry about is your followers and like how many followers you have on Discord and all that, it's like building a contact list on somebody else's phone. It's like, hey, I'm gonna give you my phone. I want you get 1,000 people at the party's contact information at the party, and then at the end of the party, you hand me back my phone. Now a week later, you want to contact Sony VP of whatever, okay? But I have the phone, and you don't have access to the phone, so you either have to wait for me to give you the phone or hope that I even give you the phone. And that's the problem with building on social media, thinking that you have access to your audience at all times. It's not necessarily true. I know I'm getting in the weeds, so I'll kind of speed this up. But digital products all come down to getting people's attention and step one called traffic, moving them over so that you can build a communication channel with them, in this case, email list or your text list. And again, the goal of the email list and the text list is so you can communicate with them over time and you own the relationship. Now, from that point, you can offer them stuff over time, like buy your merch, buy your thing, come to your thing, whatever the thing is. Okay. It's called offers. Okay. But you also have to keep people around. Like, how do you keep someone's attention? Like, you got to think of ways to do this over time. And then that's how this kind of cycles back onto itself. So, digital products are, in my opinion, the greatest thing on the planet because you can scale this infinitely. I could take those same people and bring them back to step one, right back to the traffic. And this is an infinite flywheel, okay, that attracts more people and more people and more people. As long as you guys deliver value, people transact with you. So I think I can create text in here. Let me see if I could add a. Okay, so let's say you have a million views on whatever, your social media content. It does not have to be Spotify views and Spotify plays. Trust me, there's so many people obsessing about the word Spotify. They are lying to you. Your goal should not be to stack up Spotify plays. They are lying to you because either they don't understand how online business works, or they're just trying to use the keyword Spotify to get you to buy their course or whatever, their consult, whatever the thing is. This game is not just about Spotify, especially as an independent artist. It's not about Spotify. So get that like myth out of your brain so that you can function in this world. Okay. So let's say you have a million views on all the social medias: Facebook, YouTube, IG, TikTok, Threads, Twitter. And let's consider Spotify a social media platform, in this case, a way to get views, a way to get attention. Okay. So now we're going to take those million people and convert them over to the next step. So this next step, let's say we have 10,000 email opt-ins. 10,000 email opt-ins. So these are 10,000 people who said, "Hey, I like what you're doing. I'm going to give you my email because it's valuable to me, but I value our communication more than I value my email, and I'm going to trade my email for this communication channel." Okay, so let's call it an email opt-in. So now you get 10,000 of those people to, send over their email to you. And let's say you have, let me do some math here. Make sure I'm not doing the wrong math. 100 out of 10,000 is what? What's that math? Times 100, 1%. So let's say 1%, okay? 1%. So we have 100 customers, okay? And let's say your thing is, I'm trying not to teach you guys too much stuff because if I overteach you, it's going to confuse you. But you have a couple things in business. You have the average transaction value. So this could be basically if 10 people order stuff from your website, what's the average price, that you charge for your stuff? Let's just say it's $20 in this case. And let's say the LTV, or the lifetime value, meaning that you have to measure this starting at 6 months. You can't measure this before 6 months. So if you're not in business for 6 months and don't have transactions for 6 months, you can't count the LTV yet. LTV is when you've been transacting over time. What is the lifetime value of a customer? So let's say over 2 years, a customer could spend $200 with you. Okay. Then there's another thing called cost per acquisition. This is when people start spending money on ads. I'm not going to bore you to tears about what that means. The math, though, is that, okay, if my cost per acquisition is $10, meaning I'm putting in $10 of effort to get somebody's attention, to get on my email list, to become a customer. Okay. If it costs me $10 of effort to do that, and I know their average transaction value is $20, then my return on, I'll just say investment in this case, is 2x for the first 7 days, 28 days, whatever the measurement of time is. Let's say 30 days in that case, because that's the average transaction value. So I know that if I put $10 of effort or $10 of ads, again, ads do not solve all your problems. Okay. It actually causes more problems because you have to have a back-end customer support. One more thing I forgot too about customer relations is having a customer support system. Getting email, people are going to email you, then you have to reply to their emails, and then you have to have systems about that. So I told you this would be super deep. I'm not going to edit this as much. So here we have the cost per acquisition, which is $10. Okay. Then we have the average transaction value, which is 20. So we just 2x'd our investment of time, energy, and money. Great. Now, over time, over 2 years worth of time, okay, then that $10 turns into 200, but it took 2 years, 3 years to get to that point. Okay. That's not going to happen overnight, that lifetime value. It's how much value can you continuously add over time. So now your initial investment of $10 of effort, time, energy, capital has turned into 200. So that's 20x. LTV ROI is 20 times. You cannot get that in the stock market if you don't know what you're doing. So you can do that with a small business. Okay. And that's the cool part about small business. Once you get these numbers right, it becomes that machine where you could turn $1 into 4, $1 into 8, $1 into 20. But you have to have everything mapped out properly. You have to deliver value that supersedes the money that people are giving you, or else you will not be able to scale this. Okay. And I can go into the weeds about all this, but we're going to, in that diatribe there. So the main thing though about digital is that you guys need to have a way to receive payments. Again, I recommend Shopify in that case for whatever you guys sell, whether that's consultations, physical product. I would not recommend physical. Whether that's, your album in a digital form, whether that's whatever the thing is, right? It does not matter what the thing is. Does it deliver value to that person? Okay, nextly is how to promote and get streams. So you guys can just study me. All right, just study me and look at what I do. Okay, so when it comes to music, I don't like just doing music videos to get attention. This is more so a branding move than it is a traffic move. When people ask me, like, when do I make music? Excuse me, I make music in almost every video that I make. Okay, so every video compounded over time, okay, is bringing in a lot of views on my music. So video one might be teaching somebody how to make a beat. Video two could be a podcast about whatever the current topic is, and then I'll insert my music in the background or I'll talk about my music or whatever. You got to be creative in the way that you create content. The main thing is that you have to deliver the value. Value comes in those 5 points: wealth, health, social status, power, or mastery. In this case, I'm delivering on the value called mastery. Okay. So, what I create every single day is teaching people how to be a master. If you wanted to teach people how to be powerful, you're going to have to be the network power broker, introducing somebody to this person, introducing somebody to this gatekeeper, introducing somebody to this radio host, introducing somebody to this, I don't know why I'm going blank on all the radio terms, but the people who run the radio stations, I don't know why I'm going blank on their name for some reason. The programmer. So that's the power game. If you guys are going to play that game, then you have the social status. I told you guys, you could sell clout. Basically, you're selling clout. Like, you could sell features, you could sell, as far as social status in that case, it would really be about getting people next to the thing they're trying to get to. Now, here's a little sneaky thing. I don't want to jump too far ahead about live events, but on live events, even let's say you guys are trying to get in live events. I've thrown my own live events and it's pretty simple. Find a venue, then do everything else. Do not do everything else until you get a venue. Get the venue first, then do everything else. Because once you have the venue, you could say, hey, so-and-so, would you like to perform at this? It'll be here at this time. Get the venue first, secure that deal. If you can put up less, try to put up as least as you can for the venue, because you don't want to risk all your money locking in a venue. You don't want to risk it all. Put up as little as you can to rent the venue. And once you kind of have to like what you're trying to do with the event, it does not need to be fancy. Like food, if anything, right? Chairs, if you need them. And then a PA system. That's it. It could be in an art gallery. It could be in a lobby. It could be wherever. It does not need to be a fancy, like music built environment. It doesn't have to be at a performance hall. So anyway, my point is, with live events, you guys want to think strategic. And I'll go back a little bit because I am jumping ahead. So let's go back to promotions and streams. Social media, you got to think about content. How can you incorporate value for somebody? Okay, value for somebody. The reason I brought up that live event thing is because if you're bringing in social status value, now think of a live event. You're going to say, okay, I have speaker number one here or artist number one here. This will make you look good, artist number two. So you should pay me to come perform at this show. That happens a lot. So let's just create a scenario. I find a venue for $2,000 for 5 hours of time, whatever the time is. So let's say it's cost me $2,000 to get a venue. Great. Now I have my venue. I'll start calling all the artists or whoever can spice up that venue for that specific night or day. And I'll say, hey, person number one, this is where you got to kind of pull on relationships too. So this is where relationships come into play, because you don't want to have to pay all your public speakers. You can say, hey, person number one, I'm filming this event. It's here. It'll look cool. It'll look dope for you. I'll give you the footage for free and I'll record the audio for you for free. Then they'll be convinced to come perform for free. Cool. Now you got person number one. Now person number two, you get them on the phone. Hey, person number two, I got person number one that's performing, at this venue at this time, and we're going to film it and do the audio. It only costs you $500 to perform. Now, whatever your price is, you could charge your price. Let's say you get 4 more artists at $500. That covers your venue cost for the night. So you need 4 artists at $500 to cover the venue cost. Your goal with live events is not how much profit you're going to make. It is very, 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 very difficult to make a profit at live events, especially if you guys don't have a following yet. Very, very difficult. And the scariest part about live events is that you don't know how it's gonna sell until the day of, and that's the scariest part about it all. So do not risk a bunch of money on live events. I've thrown live events in New York. I've thrown live events in Anaheim, California. I think, yeah, in Atlanta, I was another public speaker at a big live event, but I've done my own big events to where like we're renting out the 48 Lounge in New York for 4 hours. It cost me like 12 grand or something crazy to do it. And we had 150 plus people there, all paying, I think $150 minimum, okay, to get in. So I've done those events. I've done the Anaheim, seminar events. I've done we've done all that. So I can tell you from experience, like those are the things. Live events are going to be tricky in that you don't know when the money's going to return. So keep your costs at a minimum because once you start adding video production and once you start adding food, it racks up so fast. You just really question like how do people make money on live events unless they own the actual real estate? Okay, I don't want to bore you guys to tears about live events because there's not much to show you on the screen here. But promoting in streams, again, I want you guys to think about content, content, content. All right. So if you guys don't know what to talk about, go to Google Trends and look up their 24-hour trending cycle and just talk about the hot topics. You don't have to become, a commentator, a gossip channel on YouTube to do this. All you have to do is incorporate this in your content in some way or some form and then spin it to where your thing is relevant for the specific topic. Sports is always going to be at the top. If you're not sports related and don't have a sports bone in your body, don't fake the sports thing and try to like talk about sports. It's best to talk about pop culture stuff like Bachelorette. Maybe a scenario goes down in Bachelorette where it's embarrassing and you do a thing where it's like, remember the time when you got, an insert embarrassing moment and then you play your music behind it. Okay, that's how you need to start thinking. Because in real life, where do we hear music? We hear it on Love Island. We hear it on The Bachelorette. We hear it like it's in the background, but nobody's like realizing that if you take away the music, you take away the entire show. So we consume music through content. It happens everywhere. Netflix, Hulu, Peacock, YouTube, everywhere. Netflix, if I don't already say Netflix, at the movies. Okay, we consume music in other ways than just hitting play and sitting there and listening to somebody's beat. Like we consume music differently. And that's how we have to start thinking is like a Hollywood production company. All right. So nextly, registration and everything. Just make it simple on you guys. I'm getting really tired making this video. I need you to smash the like button. This is a free masterclass, and I'm giving you all the keys. Okay, so go to DistroKid, just sign up. They make it so easy. Any updates with all the social media stuff, they keep you guys updated. It's not complicated. Just sign up to DistroKid. Another thing is you can have revenue splits on here automatically, so you can invite people. I think it takes their email or something, and you could simply invite them for a royalty split. So if it's you and a producer, if you're an artist and you got a producer, you can say, hey, I want to split this song 50-50. Now 50% goes to the producer, you get your 50%. It's all handled right inside their dashboard. They keep it simple. Now I'm going to go through these features and tell you if it's BS or not. Number of artists doesn't matter. Unlimited songs, who cares? Upload unlimited lyrics, nobody cares. Spotify verify checkmark, nobody cares again. Create royalty splits, this one is valuable. Access to 21 free tools, not sure what those tools are, so it's hard for me to speak on that. Mobile app access, I guess it'd be cool to have mobile app updates. Synced lyrics in Apple Music doesn't matter. Daily streaming stats, again, doesn't really matter. Because again, if you guys are obsessing about your stuff on the streaming websites, then you already are losing in this game of online attention because that is the, what do you call it? If this were a river, it'd be like, you want to focus on the water at the top of the mountain. Okay. That's what I'm trying to train you guys to do. Focus on the water at the top of the mountain. Where does traffic start? Now, once the water kind of flows down the mountain, all the way at the bottom of the mountain and goes through all those irrigation systems, then it goes to Spotify. Okay. Spotify is not at the top of the mountain. Okay. Customized label name, again, does not matter. Customized release date doesn't matter. Customize iTunes pricing doesn't matter. 1 terabyte instant file sharing doesn't matter. RIAA platinum monitoring, again, I'm just being so real and honest with you guys because if you follow the illusion that people try to sell you, you will be in a fantasy land your entire career in music and you'll just be chasing clout your entire life and it's not good. If you want to be independent, you got to snap away from what the masses are doing. You cannot do what everybody else is doing if you want different results. Okay, so that's promotion and streams. There is no magic button that says, hey, go to this website to promote your song. You need to do the hard work and do the content and talk about stuff that people want to talk about that's valuable. You need to create value. I have a book called Producer Bible. Go to busyworksbeats.com/book and I'll send you a book for free. It's called The Producer Bible. I go through how to create value. I define value. What is value? Those 5 things I talked about. Okay, so that's where you need to register. And even in my Discord, I give you guys a checklist. If you go to the left side, scroll down to where it says, I believe it's under downloads, go to books. And then here's a checklist. I'll just put it up on the screen so you guys can see it. You can screenshot this. Okay, here are all the sites. If you guys want to get technical about all the like back end stuff. So Sound Exchange, AARC, pick a distributor, in this case, DistroKid. PRO, you want to have signed up to BMI or ASCAP. I didn't go over all the technicals because technically you can just hit up an entertainment lawyer and they can guide you through this. So for example, Stephen Vanyo from the law offices of Lloyd Remick, I'd highly recommend them. If I remember, I'll leave all their info below, but it's also in the Discord. So just join us in Discord. You guys can have all this information. But basically, I would go to them about, all things music industry, all your questions, music industry. They can like break it down into the technicals. But I'm being real with you guys. Most of you guys' stuff is not being utilized by these systems to even worry about this stuff. Okay. So, like, if your song's not being played in somebody's restaurant, why do you care about what happened? Like, just focus on, what we mainly consume, which is social media content. But here are the websites. Okay, Sound Exchange, or the organization, Sound Exchange, AARC. Pick a distributor. In this case, we picked DistroKid. Have a PRO. They basically give you like your business's social security number. Basically, it's an IPI number, and they basically, that's a way to identify you. Because what if there's a BusyWorks Beats in China? Like, who's the real BusyWorks Beats? Is it BusyWorks Beats over here? Is it this BusyWorks Beats? And so they give you a number so they can identify you. I believe it's called the IPI, if I'm not mistaken. All right. So then you have an admin company in the MLC. Do most people deal with all those entities? Not most people. Okay. Unless you're like really in the industry. So that's a checklist for you guys. What else is there to show you? So we talked about registration, DistroKid. Next was team building. And I highly recommend, again, Stephen Vanyo. I think I put it under music business. Oh, no, I didn't put it there. I need to update that. But anyhow, it's Stephen Vanyo, who's in the law offices of Lloyd Remick. They're based out of Philadelphia, and he helped me tremendously with information. So I want to thank them, and I want to send them business as well. So they are people who can help you guys. Okay. So what else is there to show you guys? Discord. So the next thing is building a Discord. Does everybody need a Discord? Not necessarily. Okay, here's our Discord with 90. Where are we at here? How many people are in here? 90. Where's our members tab? Oh, here it is. We have 94,988 folks. We have 5 people streaming right now, making beats and just create music, and they help each other and they educate each other and they share. Okay. Then we also do song feedbacks. We also do beat battles in here. And what else? There's so much in the Discord. There's so much to tell you guys. So just learn about Discord. Again, I don't want to go on about an hour about Discord, but Discord is the true definition of community. If you're from the Clubhouse days, they also have Clubhouse stages that you guys can create. If you're familiar with Clubhouse, you could basically have an audio room, and you can also do visuals in here as well, to where you can have different public speakers, and then you only let the audience up when you want to let the audience up to talk and ask questions, and then you can put them back in the audience. So it's almost like Zoom, but more audio focused, and really well done. Very slept on feature of Discord. So that is huge. You guys got to think live events don't always have to be at a physical venue either. I've done live events where it was a live concert in the Web3 crypto voxels. So if you guys are familiar with Web3, we threw, I don't know if it was one of the first or if the first digital concerts in the metaverse. So we threw it with Dill, and I'm trying to remember how long ago is that? That was probably 2022, if I'm not mistaken. We threw a crypto voxels concert to where basically people can go into the metaverse and watch somebody perform with their avatar. So we've done that live. So go look that up. And so live events don't always have to be somebody pulling up to a venue. Again, that's probably the most brand experience you guys can create. But again, there's a lot of variables about that. Like, there's so much about live events, but just keep stuff simple and you'll be fine. Now, the real deal, the email list. How do you guys build an email list? Here's a new app called MiniChat. I would highly recommend this. You can get started for free, I believe, or low cost. I forget, what options they have for the payment plans. The main thing is once you guys have contacts, just go in and delete your contacts so you're not billed for the next cycle. In MiniChat, basically, you can have different keywords trigger certain sequences. So, for example, let's scroll down. Let's say somebody comments the word quiz, for example. Okay, so if you comment the word quiz anywhere on my Instagram, it will pull up my quiz that I created. And it looks complicated, but it's really not that complicated once you kind of get the gist of it. So, this is what it pulls up on the back end. So, if they comment quiz, it'll ask them question number one. Let me zoom in. It's a little laggy on here. So, ask them question number one. Where's my quiz? Wait, where's the quiz? Okay, so question number one. If the third harmonic is 180 hertz and the fourth harmonic is 240 hertz, what's the fundamental? And then it gives them options to click. And if they click the right option, it sends them to the next question and it gives them a point. Okay, but if they click the wrong option, it sends them basically a sales letter to sign up for my music production training. So this is also a great way to market as well. So I have, once they get the question wrong, I explain why they're wrong. And then I give them the explanation and I'd say, hey, you can learn more at my website. Okay. So that's a very fun thing to do, especially for education based platforms like myself. And then at the very end, it gives them a score. And based on their score, I can send them more information. So at the end, I can collect their email address through the Instagram DM. Okay. So just comment the word quiz or DM me the word quiz anywhere on my Instagram and it will send you the sequence so you can see it for yourself. Okay. And then to get the project sound, all the things that I promise, I say, hey, what's your email? This email is then sent over to my HubSpot. And basically, I've collected emails through the DM of Instagram. Very slept on technique because you can collect a lot of emails and you can do this without the friction of going to an opt in page, clicking the thing, entering your mobile number. Like there's so much friction with that. People would rather just stay on Instagram. And that's a quick way to build your Instagram, your excuse me, your email list because that's the real thing that you guys own as your email list. I didn't have water with me, so I'm like my throat is going so dry right now. So one more thing here is that we need to look at text list. Now, would I recommend text list? The answer is no. The main reason is because it costs too much money for you guys to have a text list. So I would not recommend having a text list immediately. If anything, wait till your email list gets up to like 20,000, if anything, and then start building a text list. I would not recommend text list. And also too, text is very intimate to people. If they get a text, they feel like, it has to be important. If you're sending them, marketing messages through the text, they're going to get so annoyed if it's not specifically for them. So you got to be extremely careful with text because it could be a triggering medium. Now, lastly, let's go over AI art and cover. So hopefully you guys have at least shifted your paradigm about what being an independent artist is all about. It all comes back to these three steps. Okay. Traffic, value exchange, and customer relations. Anything else somebody tries to complicate this with, those are the three steps. Okay. So if you hear anything else, they're really trying to BS you guys. It comes down to making social media content. Ads are not the answer. Don't waste money on ads. You're going to blow through thousands of dollars and be pissed later in life because you wasted money on ads. Okay. Do not resort to ads right away. Okay. Work your stuff on social media, find what works, then scale it up with ads if you have to. Now, from the social media content, then we move people over to the email list because we own this actual asset. Okay. And then we can offer them things like low ticket price stuff or whatever. And then we follow up with those people over time with more emails through our Discord, through our email list, through different ways. Okay. And then we offer customer support for those same people. And then it goes right back to the beginning. And then they go back to our content and it recycles the sequence. So again, our scenario that we created earlier was out of 1 million views, let's say, across all the socials. Let's say we get 10,000 email opt-ins, which is what's 10,000 out of 1 million. I'm not good with these zeros. So let's say 10,000 out of 1,000,000 times 100. So that's what? 1%. So you convert 1% of people from your social media views over to email opt-ins. That gives you 10,000 email opt-ins. And again, the easier way to get these is using stuff like MiniChat. Okay, so you don't always have to send people to busyworksbeats.com/FL Studio to sign into your email. You can literally do it through somebody making a comment on an Instagram post, which is way more frictionless. And also, too, it increases your reach on Instagram where people engage with your stuff, whether comment or reply to a story. I've had stories that went from 2,000 views to 20,000 by simply implementing MiniChat because it shows Instagram that people are actually, it's called a signal. It signals Instagram that people are engaged with their thing. Okay, and it also feeds into their system. And if you're afraid of chatbots like I was in the beginning, MiniChat is a verified Meta partner. So if you guys are skeptical, MiniChat Meta partner. They are official Facebook partner, Meta partner, and it's right on the Facebook page here. Partner MiniChat. There you go. Okay, so this is the official partnership. All right. I'm looking for the logo. There it is. Okay. Official partnership. So they approve of this stuff. And what was I showing you guys? I forgot that fast. Oh, this. Okay. So out of your million views, you convert people into 10,000 emails, let's say. And then from those 10,000 emails, let's say your average transaction value is $20. And let's say you convert 100 people out of those 10,000 at $25. You just made, what's that? 100 times is 2,500 bucks. So now you know if it took you 1 million views to get 2,500 bucks, now it's just how much effort are you willing to put into the million views? Let's say to get a million views, let's say it took you 100 videos. Okay, so if it took you 100 videos to get a million views, let's say your average view count in that case, let me do the math here. 1 million divided by 100 videos gives us 10,000 views per video. So if your videos average about 10,000 views per video, then we need to make 100 videos to get to a million. Now your frame becomes, do I feel like making 100 videos to earn $2,500? That becomes the new question. Not like, what am I doing? But do I feel like making 100 videos to get to 2,500 bucks? So now you know how to go from the beginning to the end. And this is called measuring your effort. Okay. The effort, the time, the energy it takes to get somewhere, to your goals. Okay. You have to measure your accuracy. So anyhow, that's the value per the 1 million views on average in this case. And it took you about 100 videos to get there. So it took you what? You get about 10,000 views on average. Okay. You're doing this using averages. I'm giving you guys the formula. So if you want to make 20, let's say you want to make 10,000 bucks. Let's say that's your goal per the month. Okay. So 10,000 divided by 2,500 is what? 4. Am I doing that math right? Yeah. 2. Yeah. So 4. So you need 4 million views to get there. Okay, so 4 million views means you need to put out either 400 videos or you need to leverage somebody else's audience to get you to that 4 million view count mark. Okay, so if you can't produce 400 videos in a month, because that's what, over 10 videos a day, 400 videos divided by 30 is 13 videos a day. So if you can't produce that, or if you don't want to produce that, then you're going to have to leverage somebody else to produce it for you. Okay, and that's where you get into scaling up, because there's going to be a limit on your time. You can only produce so much per day. So now we're talking about scaling up, and that's how you get into higher and higher revenue. But that's a really advanced conversation we can't have today. So lastly, AI art. A lot of people don't realize how powerful Photoshop has become, but there's another program called Leonardo. So I recommend this one because you could just literally just type in stuff and it makes the dopest art. Like this one, I was using the Warriors as an example. You can use what's called reference images. So I used a reference image of the Warriors movie. Let me move my screen. Let me just turn my screen off for a second. So I was using the Warriors movie cover as a reference, and this is what it created for me. Okay, so pretty fire. Like if that was my album, as long as it spells it the right way, it spelled it wrong because this is like a weird double I for some reason. But that looks pretty fire to me. And we could fix up the like little tiny details in Photoshop, if anything. Okay, so I think the spell Warriors wrong. 2 R's in Warriors. I don't even know. This is making me forget how to spell Warriors. How do you spell Warriors? Okay, it is 2 R's. Okay. That AI made me forget how to spell Warriors. That's nuts. So yes, you could do a lot with AI. I'm not going to bore you guys to tears because I'm literally out of energy because I poured all my energy into this video. I know it's very dry, it's very businessy, but that is the reality of running your own business. It's not going to be this like this glam fest that everybody tries to lie to you about. It's not going to be this Spotify artist page that just blasts you on this playlist and you need to get this playlist placement. It's just not that. That's not the game. Those people are feeding you a dream to lead you down a rabbit hole of mediocrity. BandLab's another one I forgot to show you guys. BandLab is a great free, I believe it's free, website to get started making music. And what's cool about it is you can do this on your phone. I thought that was so cool. My cousin told me she would record on her phone in her car. I'm like, how do you do that? And I realized they literally use their phone and some Apple earphones like this, and they record records over their earphones, and the AI cleans up the audio in the app. And then they add auto tune. They find it's I didn't realize kids have it that easy nowadays, but that's what people are doing nowadays. So if you are an artist, you want to hop on records, look at BandLab. Okay, so I don't think there's any stone unturned. If I missed something or if I was going too fast, you guys got to realize this is a free masterclass, and I gave y'all like 10 years worth of gems in here. I'm pretty sure there's something I forgot, but I wrote a list. I covered everything. If you want me to cover something more in depth, let me know in the comments below. All right, guys, peace. I'm not going to keep any more of your time. If you're new here, subscribe, like this video, share with a friend. Peace.